Okay, what this is, it's just an explanation of your constitutional rights, okay?
Okay.
This is David Nieuwenhuis. A few hours ago, he beat his son's girlfriend to death with a tree branch. But right now, David has a more pressing issue. It's November and the weather is a little nippy. David needs a blankie.
So I just want to make sure that you can read these over. And
Ain't got much in the way of blankets, but
That'll work now.
it'll at least cover you up a little bit.
so if you could just write,
David Nieuwenhuis, seen here on the right, dressed like Steve from Blue's Clues, is a 4-time felon who is living in Mountlake Terrace, a small suburban community just north of Seattle. He shared his residence with his son, who had passed away about 1 week prior to the murder in question. His son's death was due to a drug overdose, for which he had blamed his son's girlfriend, Candice Black, whom he suspected to be a drug dealer. Shortly after his son's death, David began frequently calling and texting Candice, asking her to come over. When she did, she'd find her life cut short. 6 hours after her death, police arrived at David's residence to take him into custody.
so obviously we're here to talk to you about what happened tonight. And you're willing to talk to us about that?
I guess.
Okay. So early on, it sounds like you got into an argument with Candice?
I wouldn't say we were arguing. We were talking about what had happened for the last year. We were talking about some of the stuff I found inside my house after, I don't know, my son died on my floor last Saturday night.
When did your son die?
Last Saturday,
Oh, I wasn't aware of that.
on the 3rd.
Sorry to
He,
hear that.
they were, I don't know, she admitted that they had been smoking meth. Found all kinds of stuff, heroin, I think, lots of little tiny baggies, you know, so anyway, they brought him back. He was in the hospital until Friday night when he became an organ donor. Been trying to get her to come and get her stuff.
Imagine your son died less than a week ago. His girlfriend's possessions are still in your house. You resent your son's girlfriend, and you partially blame her for your son's death. Although probably not the most urgent issue, you would still likely want her belongings out of your home, as said belongings are likely to remind you of her involvement in your son's early demise. One solution is to simply remove the belongings from your home, placing them on your lawn and sending the girlfriend a message that she can come pick them up if she wants. Or you could be less polite about the situation, instead opting to destroy, claim, or sell her property and scratch a bit of your revenge itch that way. A very unlikely action, though, is to call the girlfriend and to tell her to come take her property. Most people do not go so quickly through the grieving process so as to begin basic administrative duties before a week has passed. Most people blaming a person for a family member's death are also not particularly concerned with relatively trivial issues such as whether said person has her property promptly returned to her. The fact that David was actively reaching out to Candice to invite her over helps the detectives build a case for first degree or premeditated murder, as this makes it seem like David's true intention was presumably to gain physical contact with Candice for the purpose of violent retribution. I have a different theory, the evidence for which will slowly become apparent during the interrogation, but the detectives ultimately stick with their theory of premeditated murder as revenge.
I found some journals, I guess, that I tried calling you guys earlier this week. I know I talked to the receptionist and she put me through to the voicemail of, I don't know, whichever one of the officers that responded last Saturday night.
Okay.
I thought I left a message, no one ever got a hold of me. You know, so when she was there talking about, my son's life for the last year and a half or so, and she'd been with him. And I brought those to her attention, trying to figure out what was going on. They'd been dealing drugs out of my house, going in and out of their bedroom window. At times, middle of the night, I told her that I was trying to get a hold of the cops and that I was going to bring that to their attention.
Another possible motive for calling Candice over is blackmail. David makes the improbable claim that he was trying to get a hold of the cops, as if reporting a crime requires navigating through various levels of red tape. What's more likely is that David was showing the ledgers to Candice as a form of blackmail. Were David's intention truly to report Candice's criminal activity to the police, he would have done so, especially considering the impulsive emotional state he would have been in after his son's death. Considering David's past felonies include sexual crimes, it's not unreasonable to believe that he was attempting to blackmail his son's girlfriend.
I don't know. I went into the bathroom, I came back out, I sat on the couch, and I was just looking down like this. I've just been in shock. I've been crying a lot for the last week. My whole life's revolved around my son since 2006 or so when he moved in with me. It's my stepson. And she just all of a sudden hit me with the iPad. And I don't know exactly where it went from there, but I was trying to get her off of me. She's just incredibly strong.
You might think Candice Black is a frail, innocent 20-something, but don't underestimate her. This is Candice. She's a fan of deadlifts. Her hobby is martial arts, and she loves catfighting. Oh, wait, hold on. I misread most of that. Actually, this is Candice. She's a fan of Disney. Her hobby is art, like drawing, and she loves her companion cat, Pookie. Yeah, her cat's name is actually Pookie. Also, she has Crohn's disease, which can lead to chronic fatigue. I don't think she's much of a fighter. It's hard to understand where David was going with his narrative that little Candice, wielding an iPad, posed a life or death threat to a 4-time felon who keeps swords behind his front door.
I mean, she's not that big. I couldn't get her off me. Behind my door, I've always had a stick. I have swords in my house. Sometimes I would have one of my swords behind the door, just for home protection. I'm a registered sex offender, can't own firearms.
You might notice that David is offering details that were not asked about. This is often an indication of a rehearsed story. David had 6 hours from when he killed Candice to the police arriving at his doorstep, and could have spent those 6 hours crafting a story. Even if his story isn't a particularly good one, the fact that he rehearsed it means that he will be less likely to give the detective inconsistencies that can later be used against him. And if you don't believe that this poor excuse of a story is rehearsed, you only need listen to what he told the police when he was first picked up. He uses the exact same words and gives details in the exact same order.
Do you want to talk to me now? They have some facts, but they don't really know what was going on.
She came over to get her stuff. This was supposed to be around noon. She got here around 4-ish or so. We talked for a couple of hours. On the driveway, there's some journals. They were dealing drugs. They were dealing heroin, methamphetamines.
Okay.
My son was good. He never got into anything like that. I was confronting her. I blamed her about it, and I went to the bathroom. I came back out, and I sat down on my couch, and I had my head down, kind of like that, and I just got hit right in the forehead with the iPad, and I don't know. I fought back.
Okay.
And she was incredibly strong. She's tiny. She was overpowering me.
Okay.
And I kept that stick behind my door for years. I have swords in my house, Sometimes I would keep one of those in there. I don't have any guns or anything like that.
This place is a scary place. There's a lot of meth heads, a lot of, home burglaries and stuff. So I've always had it behind my door. You know, I eventually grabbed that and I hit her with it, and I hit her with it multiple times. Just trying to defend myself, trying to get her off of me.
Okay.
I don't really know anything else.
Can I go back a little bit and ask you a couple questions earlier
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
Yeah, how about, can you just take us through your evening? I mean, from about maybe 8, 9 o'clock? How, to start from there and just kind of give us a timeline of what's going on.
I don't really know the times.
That's fine, just, you guys were both home all evening?
No, she had not been there since everything happened with my son. I've been sending texts back and forth to her, trying to get her to come get her personal belongings.
Okay.
I had told her that, you know, she could have her stuff. I didn't want her to take Kyle's personal stuff. It didn't belong to her. And, yeah, so she was supposed to be there around noon. She didn't get there until around 4 or 5. And after it happened, just went and sat on my couch,
Okay, so she
shaking.
got there around 4 or 5, and then what happened for the rest of the evening?
You know, for a couple hours we talked, I guess.
Okay. About, what do you guys talk about?
I think I just explained all of that.
About the drug dealing and, okay.
The drug dealing involvement.
Okay.
Asked her why she didn't call for help when my son was dying on the floor. She had the bedroom window wide open and was planning on going down.
Yeah. And how was the conversation going? You guys arguing, just talking?
Just talking, some crying,
From
long gaps.
crying from
Silence.
who? From both of you, or?
Yeah, one of
Okay.
us crying. I think she was. I don't know. Asked her why she didn't help my son, why she didn't yell for help when I was sleeping on the couch.
What'd she say about that?
She said, you know, when they moved into my house, I gave them one rule. I told her, I don't care what you do, just don't be coming and going between midnight and 6. That's what time I sleep. That's what time normal people sleep. I don't want to upset my neighbors. And they never really respected that. And so she didn't want to wake me up. I guess Kyle had said something about trying not to wake me up before he passed. So, I don't know.
So at the point where you came out of the bathroom and sat down on the couch, you guys had been talking for a couple hours at that point?
Yes.
And what do you suppose prompted her to get angry with you and hit you?
The only thing I can figure is that I said I was coming to the cops. I had those notebooks sitting kind of opened up in front of me. And that's, I don't know.
Dead ledgers you were talking about?
I guess, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, it looks like some mafia-style drug dealing from what I've seen in the movies. I don't know. I've never been involved
Where are
in
those
that.
items at now?
They were thrown onto my driveway.
Okay. So when she hit you, where did she hit you at?
Somewhere right in this area.
With the iPad?
The iPad.
Where's the iPad now?
I think it was on my ottoman.
Okay.
A little leather, footstool or whatever, coffee table.
Does your son and her have their own bedroom?
They do.
Okay.
So back bedroom on the left.
And how long has she lived there?
She moved in with Kyle about a year ago. Maybe August of 2017.
Anyone else live there?
No.
When she came over tonight, how'd she get over? Did she have a car?
She doesn't drive so much. I don't know if she took an Uber or if she rode the bus.
Okay.
I didn't really ask.
What'd she bring with her?
She just has a little rolling suitcase, I guess, a little square box thing. I think the iPad had been at my house for a while. I think it had been there since last weekend.
What does she have at your house still? All her stuff?
All of her stuff.
What did she say as you guys were fighting? Was she saying anything, or just
Not that I can recall.
she just out of the blue started hitting you?
Slammed me in the face with the iPod or the head with the iPad.
She ever assaulted you before?
No, she's always been nice and friendly. We've always gotten along.
You think she was high?
I think so. I don't know. I smoke pot. That's all I do. I don't drink. My wife drank herself to death. My ex-wife, I guess.
How many times do you think she hit you?
I mean, just once really hard with that iPad, and then maybe a couple of times with her hands.
With her hands? And where'd she hit you with the iPad? Up on the, right on the, in the front of the head?
Front of the head. Yeah.
Okay.
I guess, or not, I don't know. Forehead.
What about when she was hitting you with her hands? Where was that at?
Chest area towards my throat, I guess.
And then, what made her stop hitting you? Was
Me hitting her with a stick.
okay. Now, how did that go down? How did you get the stick and?
I don't know, sir.
Okay.
It's just a blur. It's been behind my door for years.
A door in your bedroom?
No, my front living room door.
Okay.
Right next.
Okay. And when you guys were fighting, all this occurred in the living room?
Yeah.
Okay. Did she try to leave, or did you try to leave?
We both ended up outside on the driveway somewhere.
How'd you end up outside?
I don't know exactly.
Okay.
Where were you at when you first hit her with the stick?
Inside the house.
Inside the
by
house?
the front door, I think.
Okay.
And then she left the iPad in the living room then, correct?
I think it just dropped after she
Okay,
hit me,
she
maybe.
dropped it.
I don't know.
And then,
She was so angry.
any neighbors come out or anything, or anyone?
No, not that I know of. I don't think so.
No.
I thought somebody had to have seen something, and I just went and sat down on my couch and waited.
Who called the police?
I did at midnight or so when I woke back up.
Okay. When did all this happen?
I don't know the exact time.
How long do you think that?
I mean, it could have been around 5 or 6 o'clock. I don't
Do you
know.
think she was outside from 5 or 6 till midnight?
I imagine. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Did you go check on her?
I didn't.
No.
I sat down on my couch. My heart felt like it was going to explode. And just sat there, shocked, I guess, and then I must have fallen asleep until I woke up. And sent a text to my mom, and then called 911.
What'd you tell your mom?
I just said that, she hit me and I fought back, I think, and that I was going to call 911.
Okay. What's your mom's name?
Bonnie,
She lived local?
she lives in Everett with my brother.
Okay. You got her phone number?
Not offhand.
Not offhand?
Just my
No
mom.
problem. Did you, when you went back out and she was out there, did you expect to see her, or did you think she was going to leave?
What do you mean when I went back out?
When you hit her with the stick, did you think she was going to be okay, or?
I don't know what I thought. After she hit me and I was fighting for what I thought was my life,
Mhm.
I don't know what, I don't know. I feel
Okay.
like I should be able to just remember every detail, but I don't.
If you don't remember, you
It's
don't
just a
remember.
blur.
I mean, if you don't remember, that's fine.
I'm trying to help out.
Oh, I know.
Let me ask, maybe this will help a little bit. So the first time you were trying to defend yourself by hitting her, that was inside, and then she started to leave. Did she have her bags with her and start bringing them outside, or were they already outside at this point?
Her bags, when I came in, I threw them outside.
You threw them out, okay.
So that if she did come back, I guess she wouldn't have to come inside for her stuff.
And then after she was walking out down the driveway, did you follow her out there?
I think the fight was continuing going all the way down the driveway.
Okay. And then when you got most of the way down the driveway is when, where she's at now. Is that where things kind of finished and you went back inside the house?
I think so, yes.
Okay. After she fell down, did you hit her any further?
Maybe once.
Maybe once. How many times total do you think you hit her with the bat? If you had
idea how many times.
Okay. And when she was on the ground, and you hit her when she was on the ground, can you remember what your thoughts were at that point?
I don't know.
Okay. And then what did you do with the bat after that?
I don't have a bat. I have
Or at the stick,
a
whatever.
maple stick that grew in my front yard, and I cut it down.
Okay. What did you do with that
I
maple
just
stick?
dropped it.
Near where she was at?
I imagine, yes.
Okay.
Are you working?
Not really, no. On and off.
Okay.
I worked Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday last week, but I wasn't sure. I don't know.
You have any video surveillance in your house? No.
Do you know of any neighbors that do?
I don't know.
Do you know your neighbors very well?
Pretty well. I mean, I'm the newest person there, and I've been there for 12 years.
Wow, okay. So,
Where's your phone at? Did they take that with you? Or is that...
I was on line with 911. I think I just left it on my leather ottoman when I saw flashlights outside my house.
Okay.
I opened up
When
my
you called
phone.
911, what did you tell them? Did you tell them?
Pretty much the same thing I told you. Told them what happened as best as I could recall.
So you knew she was gone at that point, or?
Pretty much.
Okay. Did you talk to anybody else between when you called the police, just to text your mom? Did your mom call you back? No, she texted you back?
I don't think so, no.
Okay.
Not that I saw, not while I was still in possession of my phone.
you have a pretty good relationship with your mom? Okay.
Is there anything else you think we should know? I mean,
I don't know.
have you always got along with her pretty good, or?
I went along with her great. When she was still first dating, her and Kyle had an argument. I had told her, that if Kyle ever hurts you or anything, you let me know. I didn't raise him like that. I always thought that she would come to me if something was going on.
This statement supports my theory that David might have been attracted to Candice. If you didn't raise your son to be violent, why would him acting in a violent manner even be a concern to you? Moreover, romantically involved couples tend to solve their problems themselves rather through their lover's parents. David, a registered sex offender, likely saw a rare opportunity to access a young woman. His urgency to get Candice to come to his house after his son passed away and his mentioning of the ledgers point to a different story than the one he's been telling. One very likely possibility is that he attempted to blackmail Candice into a relationship with the drug dealing accusation, and when Candice rejected David's offer, a fight broke out.
She came up, I used to go over and play Dungeons and Dragons with some of the younger kids that my son went to school with.
Mm-hmm.
I guess kids his age. And after they got out of school, they used to play at my house. I went and played there. And that's where I met her. And one day when I was over there, she was upset. And I was talking to her. And, her and Kyle were fighting. And I always thought I was there and we could talk.
So I'm going to ask you a couple hard questions, okay?
Okay.
I understand that in the beginning you were getting hit and you were trying to defend yourself. Did you get to a point where you felt like maybe the force you were using didn't match what was coming after you? Do you feel like you got to the
After
point?
being attacked,
Yeah.
I think after her just continuously trying to fight me that I went into a rage mode and I
Went into
lost
it.
control.
Okay.
That's what I think happened.
And then so when she was trying to leave, when you look back on it now, do you think it was the right decision to go out after her?
I don't even know that it was a decision.
It was just
happened,
because you were in a rage mode?
I guess.
Okay.
I was fighting for my life at the beginning. And I don't know why I didn't disengage at some point when I finally had control of the situation, or if I ever did before, you know, she was hurt. I don't know.
When she was walking out of the house, did you notice that she was significantly hurt, or at that point did it not seem as bad to you? When do you think
She
her
was
most
still
significant?
trying to fight and hurt me when she was leaving my house.
Was she saying anything?
I don't know.
I mean, she wasn't yelling at you, or not that.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's not like it was dead silent, but I don't know what was being said or anything like
Okay.
that.
Did you want to kill her at all, or were you that angry at her? Or no.
We talked. She was going to get herself into rehab. And she was scheduled for Tuesday or something to go in and detox.
Did you ever threaten to hurt her before at any point? Never?
Have you ever had a time in your life where you went into a rage mode, you just kind of lost it a little bit in the past?
I've never hurt anybody in my life. I've yelled and screamed or I got shaky, mad. Never hurt anybody. Never attacked anybody. When I was in high school, I got in a couple of fist fights after being attacked. I've never attacked or been violent or anything like that.
Okay.
My wife, she bent her aluminum cane over the top of my head. She was an alcoholic and drunk. 3 days later, I bent it back so that she could use it to walk again. There's quarter marks where she threw a handful of quarters at me on my door. I'm not a violent person. I've never hurt anybody.
Do you drink any alcohol at all?
Never.
Never? Maybe you just smoked out or marijuana?
Well, I mean, when I went to Alaska, I had 2 or 3 beers over the course of a week.
Do you smoke any marijuana today?
I smoked some today, yes.
But when's the last time you had any?
I don't know, earlier this evening.
Okay.
Did she?
Before she got there or after?
Before she got there.
Okay.
Did she ever go into her bedroom while she came over?
Or she did while I was in the bathroom.
She did?
She was, if she did, it was while I was in the bathroom,
Okay.
but I don't think so. I think she was just in the living room the whole time.
Do you have any idea what's going to happen from this point on?
I don't know. I'm going to go to jail for the rest of my life.
Not necessarily true. Okay. I mean, there's two sides to everything.
Okay.
All right, we have to investigate it and see. Okay. So. And you never planned this, correct? Or what time did you text her to come over or call her? Do you remember? Was that earlier in the day or?
Yeah, it was much earlier than
Did you text her?
Yes, and I also talked with her on the phone.
When you told her to come over, you just told her to come over and get her stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Take a quick break real quick if you want. Do you want some coffee or something?
That would be amazing.
I don't know if we have.
Let me go see what we got.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Can you need some coffee real quick?
Back to the other room.
Despite my blackmail theory seeming like the most likely one, at least in my opinion, prosecutors went with the revenge angle. Ultimately, their angle makes more sense from a legal perspective, as they can argue murder in the first degree, that is, premeditated murder, whereas the blackmail angle would only be a second-degree murder, that is, non-premeditated murder. David's defense argued for manslaughter, that is, they wanted the jury to believe that David only intended to fight off Candice in self-defense and never intended to kill her. It was a fruitless argument, seeing that David had admitted to the police he had continued to hit Candice not only after had she left his house, but even after she was lying unconscious on the ground. He left her in that position for 6 hours before calling the police. In the end, David was convicted of second-degree murder, getting 23 years of prison time. This sex offender will be 69 years old when he's released from prison, which is kind of funny. But the fact that he's a 5-time felon and he'll be back on the streets is much less funny.